Have you ever helped someone and then watched them beat you? This is the story of Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, two men who started as partners but became fierce rivals. They were young, smart, and had big dreams. At first, they worked together, but soon, everything changed. This is not just a business story. It's a battle of innovation, betrayal, and ambition. A fight that shaped the world of technology forever. Let's begin. The 1970s were a time of change. Computers were massive. Expensive machines used only by big companies. But two young men had a radical idea. Make computers for everyone. In California, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak worked day and night in a small garage. They were passionate, obsessed. They wanted to build something that people could own, touch, and use in their homes. This was the birth of Apple. At the same time, on the other side of the country, a young genius named Bill Gates and his best friend Paul Allen had a different vision. They saw the future in software. They believed that computers needed powerful programs to be useful. And so, Microsoft was born, two companies, two garages, and one massive dream. At first, it seemed like they were fighting the same battle, but soon they would be fighting each other. In the beginning, Apple and Microsoft were not enemies. In fact, they worked together. Steve Jobs needed software for his Apple computers. He called Bill Gates and offered him a deal. Gates agreed. Microsoft developed programs for the Apple II. They were young, ambitious, and excited to change the world. Steve Jobs was a visionary, passionate but demanding. Bill Gates was a strategist, brilliant and pragmatic. They didn't always agree, but they shared one goal: innovation. For a moment, it seemed like nothing could break this partnership. But behind the scenes, trouble was already brewing. Everything changed in 1984. Apple introduced the Macintosh, a computer with a revolutionary interface. It had icons, windows, a mouse, a system that was easy and fun to use. It was a game changer. People loved it. But then, in 1985, Microsoft introduced something new, a program called Windows, and it looked very similar to the Macintosh. Steve Jobs was furious. He called Bill Gates into his office and accused him of stealing his idea. "You stole from us!" Jobs shouted. Bill Gates, calm as always, replied, "It's like we both had a neighbor named Xerox. I broke into her house to steal the TV and found out you already stole it." Steve Jobs was speechless. The betrayal was complete. The friendship was over. From that moment on, Apple and Microsoft became rivals. And this was just the beginning of a war that would last for decades. The 1990s belonged to Microsoft. Windows dominated the world. It was in homes, offices, and schools everywhere. It was cheaper, easier to use, and more available than Apple's products. Meanwhile, Apple was in trouble. Their computers were expensive. Their market was shrinking. Sales were going down. And then, in 1985, Steve Jobs faced the ultimate humiliation. He was fired from his own company. Apple, the company he built, pushed him out. Bill Gates, on the other hand, became the richest man in the world. Microsoft was unstoppable. For a while, it seemed like the battle was over, that Apple had lost. But Steve Jobs was not a man who accepted defeat. Fast forward to 1997, Apple was on the edge of bankruptcy. They had no money, no future. People believed Apple was finished, but then something unbelievable happened. Steve Jobs came back, and in a move no one expected. He called Bill Gates. At a big Apple event, Steve Jobs made a shocking announcement. Microsoft would invest $150 million in Apple. The audience gasped. The man who once stole from Apple was now saving it. It was the most unexpected twist in the history of technology. People were confused, even angry. But this move saved Apple. And now, with Jobs back, Apple was ready to fight again. Then, everything changed. In 2001, Apple introduced the iPod. In 2003, they launched the iTunes Store. And then, in 2007, the moment that changed everything, the iPhone. It wasn't just a phone. It was a computer in your pocket. A device with no keyboard, just a screen. The world had never seen anything like it. People were obsessed. Microsoft, on the other hand, was not ready. Their phones were old, slow, and hard to use. Suddenly, the tables had turned. Apple was back. And this time, they were stronger than ever. Today, both companies are stronger than ever. Apple is known for its beautiful design and simple products. Microsoft is a giant in business, software, and cloud computing. But the two men who built these empires took different paths. Steve Jobs passed away in 2011. He is remembered as a creative genius, a visionary who changed the world. Bill Gates left Microsoft and dedicated his life to philanthropy. He gives billions of dollars to fight disease and poverty. Two different men, two different legacies. But together, they shaped the future. So, who won? Apple or Microsoft? Maybe. We did. Because of them, we have smartphones, laptops, and the internet at our fingertips. Their rivalry pushed technology forward. And in the end, it wasn't just about computers. It was about two young men with a dream. And that dream changed history. What do you think about this story? Was Bill Gates a genius? Or did he really steal from Apple? And who do you think won? Apple or Microsoft? Tell us in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more real stories in English. Thanks for watching. See you next time.